Hello, I am Panos Kotzathanasis, and this is ASEAN Movie Pulse interviews. Today I'm here with Ken Ochiai, whose short film Strange will be screening soon in Short Film Festival in Asia. How are you, Ken?
Great. Thank you for having me again.
Okay,
It's good
great.
to
Okay, so tell me a bit. Okay, you transferred your career from Vietnam to Japan again. So how was the
be.
transition this time?
It's great. I started teaching at Digital Hollywood University. It has university and also a grad school, and I teach at the grad school about the cinematic language.
Hmm.
So I started teaching like how to make movies and the theory of movies, and I also teach students the producing and directing and also writing. And one of the students who want to be a producer found this project called Strange,
Hmm.
and she got the rights from the publishing company, and she approached me if I could direct. And it's very unusual to collaborate with a student, but I was very happy that I really like the original material, Strange, the comic book series, and also I love working with up and coming filmmakers. So I decided to make direct.
Hmm. Okay, to get back a bit more to the transition, I'm a bit curious about because okay, your films in Vietnam were like very popular, like blockbusters even on
Yes.
occasion. But now
Mhm.
again, here in Japan, in more art house short films, is that easy, difficult? How is it?
To me, it doesn't really matter where I direct. It really matters what I want to do, like what story that I want to tell. And anywhere that I have opportunity, either it's in Greek or Greece or Japan or Thailand, Indonesia, anywhere. And I directed two features, and then I directed several TV series, and I started writing features for American feature script, and um, I felt like it, the system of filmmaking is different from Vietnam to Japan to America, but the passion and also the fun of filmmaking is all the same. It's very universal. So to me, the transition is very natural.
So, do you always have fun when you are making films?
Yeah, I mean, film is my home, like I'm not married yet. And like the film is like where my family is, like I go there, make movies, and the films are kind of like my kids.
Okay, okay. And why an LGBT film? Is this part one of the things that drew you to the script? The fact that it's a part of the
Uh,
movie of Strange is LGBT. That's it.
Strange is Anthology. The comic book series has several different parts.
Uh-huh.
You're talking about Strange, right?
Yeah, yes,
So
yes.
yeah. So it's a comic book has several other short stories, and this one was our favorite story of all the others. And the the comic book deals with how strange encounters by the strangers can kind of like change your life
Hmm.
in the most unexpected way. And for our story, the high school student, very studious, and somewhat, I guess, not an otaku, but it's very timid student meets this like very glorious uh, uh, drag queen,
Yeah.
and that encounters kind of like changed their lives in both ways.
Hmm. But do you believe that this can happen? Do you think that you can meet a stranger and completely change your life?
Yes, I mean, I all my life, that happened to me all the time. in Japan, in Vietnam, in America, in any other country that I traveled, sometimes like that really um is the only way to change your life is to meet someone strange. Like I met Kim Lee, who was the producer and actor of Saigon Bodyguards, and he changed my life. That I moved to Vietnam and made movies. And there are different people in different parts of my life kind of changed who I am and who I want to be and who I will become. So I really believe in encounters and serendipity.
Okay. And for me, it's the story is a little bit strange because usually in these types of stories, as in Strange, there is usually some romantic element. Like the two protagonists would probably fall in love or something like that. But there is nothing like that in the film. How was that for you? Did you prefer it
Yes, I
that way?
mean, I think no, I think you're right. It's a somewhat stereotypical that you have this like a gay love romance relationship, and The Strange is definitely LGBTQ plus film, but it doesn't deal with gay romance, and that's what I kind of love about this. Like if we deals with any kind of like race or gender or I guess your sexual orientation, it doesn't really matter. It's just the friendship, between them that could really change your life. Even if it's romance, it's really about like who you connect with, and it doesn't have to have physical relationship, but you have to inspire each other, and that's how we fell in love with the original story.
And tell me a bit, okay, it is obvious how, okay, the student, okay, please remind me his name. I can forget what is the name of the
Huh?
student.
It's a lady, yes.
Uh-huh. Okay, all right. And so he meets this stranger, and this stranger, this drag queen, like
Uh-huh.
changes him in the way that it kind of forces him to talk about himself finally. And that it's
Mhm.
pretty obvious in the movie. But on the other hand, how do you think the student affected the drag queen?
I think the fact that the student. Oh, sorry, I thought Shizuha was a student of the producer student, but you're talking about the actual film,
Yeah,
which
actual
is
film. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it doesn't have name, so it only has a nickname,
Ah,
Odeko-chan. So
mhm,
so in English, we just call it Odeko,
mhm,
and Odeko um kind of like inspires him that the fact that the drag queen Kuma-san um, kind of changed his life, and that fact that he could change someone's life kind of was encouraging him. That he didn't feel like he had a place. Kuma-san didn't feel like he had a place, but that the fact that he could inspire people proves that he could exist, and he's help for someone else.
mhm,
you
mhm,
know I think both of them didn't feel like they have a place to belong to, but they proved themselves that they could belong to each other in a way that almost like brothers, to each other, and family, and
mhm,
friends. So I think that's the biggest influence for the Kuma-san.
Okay. And another aspect of the film, it shows that parents do not understand their children very much. Is that your opinion also? This happens in this generation, at least, let's say?
Yes, I think you're completely right that some audience may understand that this film is about this like mother generation, like I guess one or two generation above us are very hard, um it's very hard for them to understand LGBTQ personalities or sexual orientations, but the film is more about her not understanding her son. And I want the audience to understand that even if like you love that person, like the son of a family, but you might forcing them to change, the mother was like trying to encourage him to go to like a sports club instead of like going to the cram school, the private tutoring school. And but that's not what he wants. So she was forcing. So the story is about misunderstanding someone you love.
Mm-hmm.
That's the core of the story, and
Mm-hmm.
this could happen to anyone anywhere in the world.
Mm-hmm. But okay, yes, I guess it could happen everywhere in the world. But I feel that Japanese cinema, in particular, this concept is very common in movies, showing that the previous generation did not understand this one. Why do you think it's so much prevalent? Let's say.
I mean, it somewhat it's stereotypes that like in Asian family that especially like my father didn't understand if why I wanted to be a filmmaker, and
Mm-hmm.
I had to fight almost 7 years ever since I made my first movie when I was like 12, 13. I always wanted to be a filmmaker, and my father didn't understand that. I thought it was hobby, but he thought I should be a businessman or lawyer or a doctor. It's very typical, Asian parents. But he finally gave in and understood how happy I am doing things that I love.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in uh, I guess in the generation above, they were doing what they were supposed to do. That was their life. But in my generation and under is doing something that you love is what makes life. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that I guess the gap in the generations creates the conflict.
Mm-hmm. And the solution to this problem is communication, you think? I think this is also what the movie says. As soon as the son starts talking to his mother, her behavior changes, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I think it is not easy to communicate, and it's not always verbal communication is the best way. But I think what is lacking between the generation is not to communicate, not to like I guess speak up, but it's more about to listen to each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like the in the beginning, the students just whispered, but that's not what I want,
Mm-hmm.
and if the mother just said what, then like he shuts himself. But if mother opened up and came closer and say, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Please share it with me. Then he might have said something. So the communication is a key, but it's not about speak up, but it's more about to listen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, okay. And can you tell me a bit about the cinematography in the film, what you wanted to do with the visuals in general?
Yes, I mean, I always like to come up with a visual design of the film, and we have different colors for the characters. One is Odeko has a pink. The color of pink is his color, and the mother it has this like green color. So the living room is always green, and Kuma-san has blue. So in the beginning, we have somewhat desaturated world, from the city to pulling back to his room. It's like almost like a box, almost like a prison, and everything is like very vertical, and it's almost like he's a bird in a cage. But at the end, because he met Kuma-san and he kind of opened up himself, at the end he had this like a clear blue sky with the horizon, from side. So this vertical lines at the end becomes the sidelines, and that kind of I guess visual transition from desaturation to saturated blue and pink, and then this vertical lines to sidelines. And those are the things that I wanted to, I guess, portray what he felt and what his growth
Mm-hmm.
really was.
Mm-hmm. And about the locations, the film was shot, but I'm particularly interested in the playground where they sit on the swings and talk.
Yes, that was everything was shot in Fujisawa, which is the Miami of the Asia, and
Okay.
I think there were actually like a sister cities or something. But it's a really beautiful place, and there's an island called Enoshima, which
Hmm.
is at the end of the movie. Over the credits, we see Enoshima, but that's like I guess a surf city in near Tokyo, and everyone like kind of like loves like going to the ocean. Like young people go there, and it's a beautiful, um not beautiful beach, but it's a beautiful kind of like what is that called, the side road,
Scenery,
like
yes, yes, okay.
yeah, scenery, yes.
Yeah, okay, okay. And can
I
you,
strongly recommend
sorry.
going to Fujisawa,
Uh-huh, okay.
foreigners to sightseeing.
Uh-huh, okay, okay. And can you tell me a bit about the casting? How did that work?
Yes, we really put our thoughts into casting because first Odeko-chan, we needed someone who's like 17, 18 and real like high school students, and also someone who can be very, very sensitive towards like what others feel. So he has to be like I guess a kind and generous person, but at the same time he's timid. And we found Araki-kun, and he we call him Towa. His name is like very interesting, very unusual name, Towa. And when we had a meeting with him, like we immediately fell in love. Like his previous films, like a drama series and movies, were great, but um, we really fell in love by the fact that you know he also can relate to Odeko-chan because he loves cute things. Like, like stuffed animals or like something cute or pink, those kind of things, the fashionable things that may not be appropriate for the traditional sense of masculinity. So, he said, he can relate to Odeko-chan a lot. So, like, we casted him. On the other hand, Kuma-san, we auditioned many LGBTQ actors, and they're not that many actually, but we found a few talented ones, and we approached them, and um, Dorian is like really enthusiastic, and his energy is just vibrating from like his like inside out, and like he's one of those people who came into like in the room, and then just the whole room brightens up. And like we need someone like that in the movie as Kuma-san, because he needs to enlighten the Odeko-chan's world. So we casted Durian.
Hmm. Hmm. But Durian is kind of a celebrity, no? Is it?
Yes, he's celebrity in the LGBTQ like drag queen world, but
Hmm.
like not yet in the I guess all over Japan. So I think he is starting to come up because he's unique, he's talented, he's very, very interesting to work with. He brings like a lot of ideas to the table. So like I really had a fun working with him.
Hmm. And I think it's also interesting that he's convincing both when he's a drag and when he's like normal, let's say. He's very convincing in both capacities, right?
Yes, yes, and he is like that in real life too. Like his name is Masaki, and Masaki-san is like very like good looking, and he dresses like a man usually, but like when he puts drags queen like costume on and makeup, it's just like switches. Like
Hmm.
he's almost like has two different sides,
Hmm.
and that was very intriguing.
Hmm. Okay, okay. And the actress who plays the mother?
Yes, Honosan is very I guess talented, but I guess how like she has like when we talk to her about like the relationship between mother and son, she had a difficulty denying LGBTQ because she has so many friends you know
Mm.
uh, uh around her, and she was kind of afraid to play that role, but she felt like it was important that she knows those kind of people who actually don't have any understanding towards something unknown, that's something not familiar. So she felt, like even her could have any bias towards something, and she was replacing, the, I guess, her fear towards unknown to, I guess, relate to um, the mother's role who doesn't have like understanding to the LGBTQ community.
Okay, okay. And what is your opinion of the Japanese movie industry at the moment? What do you think?
Well, I think a lot of Japanese filmmakers and people in film industry said that the Japan needs to change. Japan needs to go outside, and Japan, has to be like Korea, or Japan needs to, be I guess international um filmmakers. And I kind of disagree. I think what it's important is not about going outside, but it's more about, making the movies that you want to make. And I think Japan has been doing that. And that's why it's so unique. Like Avatar 2 came out, all over the world, and Japan was the only country that went second, in the first week. And the first one was Slam Dunk, which was the animation that no one knows anywhere in the world, but except, Japan. Well, some Asia, Slam Dunk is very famous, popular. And I love Slam Dunk, but I also love Avatar too. And I was, shocked and then impressed. Like, we are the country where we say we like what we do, what we make, and not, like just praising like everything outside. So I feel like the audience or the Japanese people understand that what they really like, and there's nothing wrong with that.
What about the Vietnamese industry? You are familiar with that also, I guess.
Yes. Vietnamese film industry is interesting, where that the filmmakers are very young and also hungry. And that's when like good films come out and challenging films come out. Also bad movies come out too, but that's the part of the process. And I feel like it's evolving really, really fast. And I think Vietnam will literally like change the perspective of the world. I think because they're young and hungry, and also they always like to challenge, and they try to improve themselves all the time. And they're the ones, I think could potentially become the center of Asia and the world. I felt like, just being there, I was just, inspired by their energy
Mhm,
and and this like power. So I feel like the Vietnamese industry will literally like, bloom soon.
mhm. Okay, okay. And regarding your own future projects, what are you working on next? You have any plans?
Yes, I've shot some TV series in Japan, and which will come out sometime next year. And also I'm developing several features in Japan and Vietnam and America. One of them is something that I'm producing. It's
Uh,
called Boku no Naka ni Saku Hanabi, which is it's translated as fireworks inside me.
mhm,
And it's a coming of age story of high school students who need to face his a father, and struggling kind of like family dynamics. And it takes place in Gifu prefecture, which is like the countryside where very famous samurai Nobunaga created.
mhm,
And it takes place in modern times, like right now, but it's very, very um, independent um, coming of age story directed by Yuto Shimizu, who is only 22 years old, and he's like this is his first feature. So I'm very, very excited to be part of this movie, and we will be shooting in August. So I really hope that people come watch the movie next year.
Okay. And also, do you plan to continue teaching or?
Yes, the fact that I teach makes me a better filmmaker. And
Mm,
I love schools. The part of the reason why I made Strange is because I can relate to Odeko-chan, who loves studying.
mm,
And the mother was like, just go out to play sports, but he likes numbers. He likes to study, and me too. Like, I like studying. I like being in school. And I like coming up with new ideas, and I also like to make movies, and I also like to teach. So study, come up with an idea, and actually make it, and teach
mm,
and share, and then just repeat. I feel like at age of 40, I feel like this balance of studying and imagining and creating, and teaching have, I guess, harmony. So
mm.
I'm very, very happy
Okay.
right now.
So you never feel tired because you talk about so many things you're doing at the same time. I don't know.
Yes, I guess that's a part of my problem, that I guess, like, I like to do many things. I have too many stories that I want to tell, and I'm always like, oh my God, I have to do this and do this and then tell this story, and work in Vietnam and Japan and America. Oh my God, I got a call from Thailand. I have to go, and I'm very psyched.
Okay, okay. Well, great. I guess that's it. Thank you very much
Okay.
again for your
But I'm
time.
ready for, making movies in Greece. So hopefully,
Okay.
this
Yeah,
interview
that's
works.
something to explore. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So
Cool.
this was ASEAN Movie Pulse interviews from Panos Kotzathanasis and Ken Ochiai. Have a nice day. Bye.
Yes. Thank you very much.